Hey everybody, Anthony Caldereira here, aka Gangsta Ant. So I said the other day that I'd be posting 2 or 3 times a day, but I haven't been doing that. I've been kind of busy, so I apologize, but I will do better with that. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the coronavirus. I told you that I'd be posting some information. I do have an extensive background in health and nutrition, psychology, athletics, and I think this all plays into like a general attitude about life. And I think this coronavirus is either teaching us something about life or it's going to at the end. So I just want to put a few things out there, and I'll talk more about it in other posts. But tonight I kind of wanted to talk about the basics and then maybe just give a little insight towards the psychological effects of this. So first of all, I do want to say that while this is not impacting the younger generation as much as it is older people and people at risk, such as people who are immunocompromised and elderly people who have underlying health issues such as diabetes, people who are taking chemotherapy or other drugs that will suppress your immune system, such as people with organ transplants who are taking immunity drugs to lower the body's tendency to want to fight and go against the organ transplant. So these kind of drugs lower your immunity. Also, drugs such as ones that address other autoimmunity issues, such as skin rashes, such as drugs that are designed to lower the body's immunity response, such as things such as skin disorders or fungal infections, these kind of drugs. And you know what I'm talking about. If you take those, you should be particularly careful to avoid groups and people that may have been in larger groups. Now, the thing I want to talk about is some of you younger folks, in your 20s and 30s, you might think that you're immune because younger people aren't necessarily affected by this, and that may be true. But what you have to understand is that you're responsible to other people in your community. And if you get in contact with this virus and you take it home to people who are immunocompromised or people who are going to be around other people who are immunocompromised, you have to be cognizant of this and you have to be socially responsible. So another thing I wanted to mention is that a lot of people don't recognize the fact that it's not only coming in contact with the virus that's a problem, it's how much of the contact you have with people. So if let's say you're a social worker and you're in a hospital and you're around people all the time that are exposed to this virus or have been affected by this and they're sick, the longer you're around those people, the more your body is going to have a negative response to this. In other words, if somebody sneezes and you get this contact by the virus, you're going to be less affected by it than somebody who is around people who sneeze constantly. So in other words, the gross amount that you get affected by this virus is going to be really critical as opposed to somebody who gets exposed to maybe one person that's exposed to it. And people don't understand that. So the more you can do to limit your exposure to people who may have it, the better off you're going to be. So apply that to your common sense everyday approach to try to limit your exposure to the virus and also to limit your exposure group. In other words, if you don't do things to lower your your own your risk factors, such as drinking a lot of alcohol, not getting enough sleep, not taking the right diet or taking the right intake of vitamins and not drinking the right amount of fluids. These are all risk factors that come together and give you a big picture of how at risk you are. So you need to consider all this stuff. You need to look at the government agency websites that they have out there and take all this into consideration. Now, another thing I wanted to mention, and I'm sorry I'm having a hard time really speaking very well tonight, and I don't know why, but so you got to forgive me for my lack of command of the English language tonight. The other thing I want to talk about is your overall attitude of this, and some people are aggravated because they can't do things that they would normally do, but you have to understand that these are things that the government is doing to control our exposure, and the reason they're doing this is because we only have so many hospital beds. We have like 1 million hospital beds in this country that are available for people who need intensive care, things such as respirators and so forth. And by controlling and slowing down the amount of people who get this at one time will enable our hospitals to treat people who need things such as respirators and who need immediate hospital care. So if we slow down the virus and we control how many people get it at one time, it's going to enable our hospitals to treat people who need immediate attention and therefore control the amount of people who will die from this virus. This virus is contagious, but other than that, other than the fact that it does critically and viciously attack the lungs and giving people pneumonia, other than that, it's not that dissimilar from other viruses. So get informed, understand how the virus works, and understand why we are trying to control how many people get this at one time. And if we do this, we will shorten the span and the curve of this virus, and maybe by June or early July, we'll be out of this and things will return to normal. So this may or may not help you in understanding the components of this virus, but if you listen to what I said and you apply this to your common sense, and if everybody does their part, maybe not one person or two people or three people, but if millions of people respond to this in a responsible manner, I think you're going to find that we're going to be way better off. So I'll talk about this more tomorrow, and hopefully you've gained some insight towards this. So until then, just try to be patient and just be responsible, and I think it'll go a long way towards us getting out of this. All right? So until tomorrow or later tonight, peace, be safe. Talk to you then. Bye.